The Galactic Council's chamber gleamed like a beacon of sophistication and order, amidst the chaos of interstellar politics. Its domed ceiling displayed a holographic projection of the galaxy, each system shimmering as a delicate point of light. Delegates of every imaginable species filled the vast amphitheater, their forms as diverse as their voices. The towering Cerathians, with their glassy, translucent skin and pulsing internal organs, stood stoically beside the armored Boryx, a reptilian species whose scales glinted like polished stone. At the chamber's center, a human representative stood alone, a stark contrast to the alien assembly. Ambassador Elise Varn was unwavering, her sharp green eyes sweeping the room. Her silver hair, neatly tied back, gleamed under the chamber's ethereal light. The faint tremor in her voice was masked by the resolve behind her words. 50,000 lives, Elise began, her voice cutting through the quiet murmur of the chamber. Entire families obliterated. This was not an act of war. It was extermination. Her words lingered as she cast her gaze toward the Alcarn emissary. The Alcarnians were a race of biomechanical beings, their sleek metallic exoskeletons intertwined with organic components. Their leader, Prime Myrexus, leaned forward, his glowing, liquid-like eyes narrowing as he spoke. Your colony encroached on Alcarn territory. This was a necessary demonstration, Myrexus stated, his voice a mechanical hum that sent shivers through the room. Your species expands recklessly, blind to the consequences. Elise stepped closer, the weight of her fury evident. New Eden was a peaceful colony established with the Council's approval. Your so-called demonstration was a massacre. The Council Chair, a Cerathian elder whose internal organs pulsed with a soothing blue, raised a delicate semi-transparent hand. Ambassador Varn, the Council will deliberate on this matter. Elise's jaw tightened. She drew a breath, suppressing her anger. Humanity has waited long enough. If the Council will not act, we will. Her tone left no room for argument. As she left the chamber, Prime Myrexus's mechanical hum followed her. Then prepare to be erased. In the corridor outside, Admiral Leon Mercer waited, his rugged face hardened with anticipation. What's the verdict? Elise's response was sharp. The Council will deliberate. Humanity will act. Admiral Mercer's eyes darkened. Then it's time to awaken the fleet. The Sol system pulsed with unseen energy, a quiet storm building beneath its surface. Earth's blue-green glow hung as a jewel in the void, surrounded by the faint glimmer of orbital defense platforms. Officially, humanity's military capabilities were modest, adhering strictly to the Council's imposed restrictions. Unofficially, Earth had been preparing for this moment for decades. Deep within the asteroid belt's hidden shipyards came alive. Massive structures cloaked in layers of sensor-absorbing material hummed as humanity's secret fleet stirred. Sleek black warships began to emerge, their angular forms designed for precision and stealth. Alongside them, thousands of AI-driven drones activated in unison, their movements perfectly synchronized as if choreographed. Inside the command bridge of the Wrath of Terra, humanity's flagship, Admiral Leon Mercer stood at the helm. The bridge was a hub of calculated chaos with officers moving between glowing consoles. A holographic map dominated the center of the room, its soft blue glow highlighting red enemy markers amassing near human space. Admiral, called Commander Tessa Ashen, her voice steady despite the tension. Recon reports the Alcarn fleet is mobilizing. They've stationed reinforcements at our border systems. Mercer's sharp eyes scanned the map. They think they've caught us off guard, he said, his voice calm but edged with steel. They'll learn otherwise. Behind him, Elise Varn entered the bridge, her diplomatic uniform exchanged for a more practical, armored variant. The Alcarnians believe they've broken us, she said. Let's show them what humanity is capable of. Mercer nodded. We'll need everything we've built. Activate the Hammer Protocol. The Hammer Protocol was humanity's hidden ace. Across the Sol system, factories transitioned seamlessly into wartime production. Civilian facilities churned out weapons and ammunition at a staggering pace. Advanced AI units worked alongside human engineers, crafting quantum destabilizers and adaptive shield systems. In a distant facility, a weapon unlike any other was readied. The Eclipse Cannon, a ship-mounted superweapon capable of devastating entire fleets, hummed with latent power as its final calibrations were completed. Onboard smaller stealth ships, experimental railguns were loaded, their sleek designs reflecting humanity's ingenuity. Admiral Mercer turned to his crew, his voice steady but filled with the weight of their mission. The Alcarnians think they can crush us. They think humanity is just another species to conquer. Let's prove them wrong. Cheers erupted across the fleet. The silent storm was no longer dormant. Humanity was ready to strike. The Alcarn fleet advanced like a dark wave, its biomechanical ships pulsating with eerie organic light. Each vessel seemed alive, its metallic exoskeleton laced with glowing veins of blue energy. At the heart of the formation, the flagship Prime Dominion loomed, a massive, hulking presence that dwarfed the other ships around it. On board the Prime Dominion, Prime Merxus observed the tactical displays with calculated calm. His voice, a mechanical hum, echoed through the bridge. Humanity's forces are a fraction of ours. This will be over quickly. But the Alcarnians underestimated the storm waiting in the shadows. Near the edges of a dense nebula, the Wrath of Terra led the human fleet into position. Its sleek obsidian hull seemed to absorb the light around it, rendering it nearly invisible against the void. Smaller stealth ships surrounded the flagship, their railguns primed while swarms of AI drones hovered in perfect formation. "Admiral," Commander Ashen reported, her voice sharp. "Enemy fleet is within range." "Hold position," Mercer replied, his eyes locked on the holographic map. "Let them get comfortable." The Alcarn ships moved deeper into human territory, their formations confident and unbroken. Then, without warning, the first human strike hit. Lances of plasma fire erupted from the shadows, tearing through the vanguard of the Alcarn fleet. Explosions blossomed silently in the vacuum, their fiery glow illuminating the darkness. Panic rippled through the Alcarn ranks. "Where did that come from?" a subordinate demanded on the Prime Dominion. "Stealth technology," Merxus growled, his glowing eyes narrowing. "Deploy countermeasures." But humanity had prepared for this. The Wrath of Terra emerged from the nebula, its massive railgun firing a devastating round that split an Alcarn battleship in two. Smaller human vessels darted through the chaos, their precise strikes crippling enemy formations. AI drones swarmed, overwhelming Alcarn defenses with deadly efficiency. The Alcarnians attempted to regroup, their biomechanical ships pulsing with defensive energy. However, human weapons adapted to counter their shielding, rendering their defenses useless. Quantum destabilizers fired, ripping through the flagship's protective layers and creating breaches in its hull. On board the Wrath of Terra, Admiral Mercer gave the next order. Focus fire on their command structure, break their coordination. As human forces tightened their grip, the Alcarn fleet's once formidable presence began to crumble. Their ships, so often the predators, were now prey. The Alcarn fleet was in disarray. Ships that once pulsed with the vibrant energy of biomechanical power now drifted, shattered and lifeless through the void. The few remaining vessels attempted desperate counterattacks, but humanity's precision and technological superiority left them no openings. On board the Wrath of Terra, Admiral Mercer watched the holographic display as red markers, the Alcarn vessels, flickered and disappeared one by one. The bridge was a hive of activity, officers relaying orders and coordinating strikes, but Mercer's voice cut through the chaos with calm authority. "Advance the fleet," he commanded. "Show them there is no escape." The human fleet pushed deeper into Alcarn space, their momentum unstoppable. Targeted strikes dismantled military installations orbiting key planets, while ground-based defenses were neutralized with surgical precision. Civilians were spared, but humanity's message was clear. The time of being underestimated was over. On the surface of the Alcarn homeworld, a planet of shimmering metal and organic structures intertwined, Prime Merxus addressed his council. The chamber was dark, the usual glow of Alcarn power dimmed by their desperation. His voice, typically confident and mechanical, carried a strained edge. "We cannot lose our home. he declared. Mobilize every available resource. They must not reach the capital. But humanity was already there. The Eclipse Cannon, humanity's experimental superweapon, powered up above the Alcarn capital. Its barrel glowed with a radiant energy that seemed to distort the very fabric of space. The Alcarn Council watched in silent terror as the weapon targeted a military hub. The beam it unleashed was not chaotic destruction. It was precision devastation, leaving civilian areas untouched while obliterating the heart of their war machine. On board the Wrath of Terra, Elise Varn stood beside Mercer. Her face, etched with exhaustion and determination, glowed in the cold light of the holographic display. "It's time to send the message," she said. Her image appeared on every Alcarn communication channel. Her green eyes bore into the viewer, her voice steady but unyielding. "This is Ambassador Elise Varn of Earth. Humanity has endured your arrogance, your violence, and your underestimation for too long. Today we show you the price of your actions. Let this be a warning to all who would seek to harm us. When you push humanity too far, we push back harder." The broadcast ended, but its impact reverberated across the galaxy. The Alcarn forces, their morale shattered, surrendered unconditionally. Their war machine, once considered invincible, was dismantled piece by piece. As the human fleet returned to Earth, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. Humanity, once seen as a fledgling species, now stood as a dominant force. On the bridge of the Wrath of Terra, Mercer turned to Elise. "Do you think they'll come for us again?" he asked. Elise's gaze was hard but resolute. "If they do, they'll know what to expect." Earth shone brightly as the fleet approached, a beacon of resilience and strength. The stars bore witness to a new era, one where humanity had earned its place through unyielding resolve and the refusal to back down.